we're at a stage up here where I just like to button this end of the engine up before we roll it over and do the rear engine seal and put the sump on and the oil pickups and all that sort of thing. So, but before we can put the exhaust manifold on, we need to put our injector pipes on. Now we've wire brushed all the injector pipes up and made sure they're nice and clean. And what I like to do with them is I'll get the air nozzle here, and I have seen tractors done up and people put new injectors or get serviced injectors in and saying, oh, those injectors are no good, they were jammed open, but they haven't cleaned these pipes properly. So what I like to do is I like this brake clean force. Now you can see the power of that. So I like to blow it through with that. Phew, really got me in the face. So I pop them through with that, and then I follow through with air. And we know that that has to be clean. Now I can't remember which pipe this was. If we pop it here near an injector, I think that would look pretty close there, number 4. So we'll just, at this stage, all we do is just sit everything in loosely. No need to tighten anything up. And we'll find that all the pipes will just lay in there, they'll find their natural habitat. So look, that one there looks like it'll be a good fit. So we'll blow. Make sure there's no rubbish in there. That looks like it would fit there. I didn't mark them. Probably should have. Yeah, that's okay. And we just need them loose for the moment. We need to sort clamps out and all that sort of thing. Now this fella here. Possibly there. There we go, that started. And that looks like it just wants to go through this clamp here and sit there. So there's only one left. So we're pretty sure now that there's no little bits of swarth, no rubbish, anything like that. There we go, so we pop this fella out here. And look, all I want to do at the moment is just start them on the threads of the injectors. And it looks like this one would have to come down inside the others. Now it's been ages since I pulled this tractor apart, so I'm just winging this a little bit. And so that clamp would line up with this fella and this fella. Yeah, that would be good. So I'm going to give it a bit of a push and a twist and get it onto the, I think this one would be the next one to hook on because he looks like the next hardest to get to. Once again, don't tighten anything up yet. We can see there's no pressure on that. just put these little caps over in the pot. Find a 7/16 spanner and we'll back these off a little bit. Until we can get them sitting close to where we'd like them. Make sure the clamps all line up nicely with the pipes. But I've not tightened any of them up yet. And what I'm looking for, you'll notice me giving an injector pipes a little bit of a pull and a twitch and all that from time to time. What I'm aiming for is to have the nut on the injector, or the injector pipe, to line up and still be a little bit of movement there. So we know we're not putting stress on the injector lines, and with the, we know there's no stress, there's no chance of them cracking later on. Now over the back here, excuse me, I have my favourite old spanner. I'll just back that off a little bit. I'll tighten the other end up here and just check there's no stress anywhere. Well, that's sitting in there beautifully. This is a 5/8 spanner. So we'll nip them up. Same down here. Tighten this clamp. Try and make sure the clamps I'm just trying to make sure the clamps lined up perfectly with the same line as the pipe. Okay, so that's number 4. Nice and firm. Okay, number 3. So once again, we'll just, you see I've got nuts missing here, and sometimes, another thing I haven't mentioned is these injectors are not 100% tight. And the other reason I do that for at times is if the injector can just move a little, and that lines up this olive better. So you have them down, like, actually I need to pull that one down a little firmer. And you have them down pretty well in place, but that just allows just that little bit of movement on the studs, so that when the pipe's done up, hopefully it does up nice and true. So these probably need to come down a little bit. I'll try and stay out of the frame. Because if you tighten those injectors right down, and they're just on an angle, well, you're putting a bit of stress in the pipes already. So That nut doesn't feel all that good on this one. I might have to revisit that. So the pipe's coming down through there. It's just about getting everything in the happy spot. I know it's a bit of a fiddle around, a lot of people don't do this, but I just like to, and whether you fiddle like I do or not, it's entirely up to you. Okay, they're all sitting in pretty well. I'll just firm these other clamps up. Make sure they're sitting. So there's no load on that now. Now, I might back this one off a little bit. I probably nipped him up a bit soon. So now I'll run through, I probably won't film it, I'll run through and put spring washers under these and run these nuts down and clamp the injectors down, and I'll come back when I've done that. Okay, I've bolted all the injectors down. I've fitted new nuts on this side with new spring washers and tightened them all down. So after tightening them down, I've got a bit of movement in the stand here. I've nipped them all up here. I've nipped them all up on the injector pump here. And hey, how's that for a catch? So now we know that the injectors are down firmly. The pipes are all done up tight as they should be. The injector lines here we're going to tighten up. Probably come in under there a bit. Now, when you go to bleed the tractor later, to give it a start, I find I probably undo this one. It's the easy one to get to, number 3, and you don't have to actually get in up on the injectors here. Now, I find if you bleed the screws here, get a nice clean run of fuel out, and you just leave one line open, open up the throttle and wind him over. It doesn't take long for it to start picking up on the others, and a lot of the air seems to blow out the one pipe. But look, we've got a long way to go to get to there yet. So the leak off line. Now, the leak off line can only go, well, it can go that way and that way. Whether it matters, I don't know. I don't think it does. It seems to fit nicely both ways. But I've sealed the caps off here, the blue caps, because when the injector return line was this when I pulled it off. Like, we have the nut there that goes onto the thread here. We have this, you know, your cold start canister, and there's bits of poly body zippy tied onto it, and so there's a bit of work to do there yet, but I'll probably try and make these lines back up again. But for the moment, I'm just going to block them off so we can at least paint the engine and tidy it up like that. I'll put that over into the parts box. Now we undo these little screws for the leak off lines. I've got to check this line too. There's one that comes from here. often goes up to the end there, but I just can't see it at the moment, and I'm thinking it was probably a ballsed up looking thing as well. So on this leak off line, it can't go that way because it hits the bolt, so it has to come out this way. And yeah, there's no difference that I know of, but we have a washer on the top there, an aluminium washer. Put him through, corresponding one on the bottom. And we'll get that started. Now you may have to adjust this just minutely, just to get the whole show to line up as it should. And what we're looking to do is just have no pressure on that either. And so I can see that this back one will line up, but the front one won't. So by just giving that a twig now, that should be okay. So we'll pop this little washer on, one for the back here. And one more to go. There's a snug fit on the bolt there. That needs a bit of a no, it's not quite right yet. Where do we need to go? Boy, that should be close. There we go. I'll just try and make sure there's no load on them. Then find my trusty 7/16 spanner. Once again, I just like to get everything firm before we go up tight. Not out of the way. I can't see the monitor, so I can't see if my fat guts is in the way. Probably is. There we go, there's a slight little burr there on that. I should get the file and tidy that up. I should have done it before. It's just a little burr from a spanner or a shifter or something. Normally I would dress them up before this stage. But anyway, so yeah, the pipe here I have to find yet. I'm not sure what order that was in at the time. I need to put a cap in here. But apart from that, the injector lines are done. And at this stage, I can pop the exhaust manifold on. Now I've got the longer brass nuts on here, and I don't put spring washers on. The heat can take the tension, or seems to take the tension out of the spring washers, and they want to rust. So if I sneak around the back here, and bring the exhaust manifold. Now we have an elbow as well, but I'm not going to fit the elbow yet. It can go on at a later date. There's no need, but I would like to get this on. Try to put it on the right way, Lance. Look at that, that's lovely. And you can see now why we had to put the injector lines on before the exhaust manifold. And look, what I may do, oh no, I'll do it later. I'm going to cover this up with tape as well, so that the engine's sealed up, and when I put a bit of primer type undercoat on, it will get in there, come on. Yeah, it won't go inside the manifold. So painting an exhaust manifold, it always smells like the tractor's brand new when you start him up. Okay, so you'll need a 9/16 spanner. And try and do them up reasonably even, so you're not stressing any of the lugs more than the other lug. We're trying to bring it down against the gasket, just nice and evenly. That injector clamp's just in the road for this one, but anyway. And there you go. I think it's nice and firm. I'm just trying to, with my tension wrench elbow, check that the tension is similar. Okay, so that's going to be it for this video. We've got the injector lines on. I'll run through what I like to do there. We've got the return line, injector return line on and buttoned up. Off camera, I'll cover this hole up here so there's no more rubbish gets in, and I'll find caps for these two here. And then I think we should be right to, yeah, just roll it over and Yeah, pop him over and we'll start on the other end. I'll try and do the rear engine seal on the sump.